Caravan Industry Victoria. Good to have you on the weekend break.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate the support, and head down here and get some bargains.
It's a beauty. Good on you, Daniel. Thank you so much for talking to us again. Coming up next is Theo Zografos, who is former Monash councillor and federal Liberal candidate for Chisholm. We'll have a chat to him about elections. Where do we go? What do we have to do? I don't know who I'm voting for. Don't care. Just fix everything, will you? That's my vibe. How about yours? We'll talk to Theo next, and your calls anytime, 133 693. You can text if you like, 0477 693 693. 23 past 12, it's the weekend break, and Theo Zografos is a friend of the show, if you will. He's also a former Monash councillor and federal Liberal candidate for Chisholm. Joins me on the weekend break now. Theo, good afternoon to you.
Hello, Grub, you gorgeous man.
Good to speak to you. Yeah, that's how Darren James.
Calling you now?
Well, no, yeah. Darren James described me as that before. Which look, I'm flattered. I've been going to Keezer on Darren's advice and on another mate, and I tell you what, it has made. Even my wife is calling me that now, Theo. And look, that's encouraging, surely.
Great success. Great. You know, Grub, I was just watching the grand final on replay. If you stop watching after 10 minutes, it's actually not a bad game.
Yeah, thank you. Jeez.
It's all
please,
about timing.
But stop bringing it up.
Look, if it makes you feel any better, if this federal election was held last month, I'd be in Parliament now. So it's all about the future, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. Hey, speaking of what, we've got council elections coming. As a former Monash councillor, your time's just about. Where do I go?
Well,
what am I looking for? What do I want?
Look, I've got the same problem because, I usually vote for myself, and I don't know what to do. I don't know any of these candidates that are standing.
Hand stuff out to your kids and everything, don't you?
That's right. I'm thinking I might just write my name in. But look, what my advice to people is, don't be afraid to call the candidates up. Their number is on the VC website, and just have a chat to them. Ask them where they stand on the issues that are important to you. And most of the time, they will have their candidate's statement, but you can't fit everything into 200 words. So just give them a bell, and they will definitely want to have a chat. Trust me, they'll take your call, and then make your mind up after you've spoken to as many of the candidates as you can.
Some years ago, we actually changed to where our principal place of residence to Apollo Bay. That was pre the big ring of steel that we had a few years ago during COVID. They were happy times, weren't they? So we're voting in the Colac Otway Shire, which is, it's tourist, but it's also rural, it's country, it's all sorts of things. And, I've seen Green candidates putting their name up. How political is it? I mean, I don't want a councillor, my councillor, I don't want my councillor, like so many people, getting involved in what's happening in the Middle East, for instance. I'd rather have my roads fixed. I mean, how do we get that message across, Theo?
Well, look, there are some councillors that are endorsed by a political party. The Greens do endorse most of their candidates, but the other political parties don't really endorse candidates. But you've got someone like me who's a known Liberal, and I don't hide that, obviously. Yeah. I think what I've seen in 12 years is I haven't really seen the party politics take precedence over what's the right decision to make on a particular issue. I haven't seen that, although party politics does exist in Monash Council and other councils. So my advice would be, obviously you vote for a candidate that reflects your values, but if they're wasting ratepayers' time on issues that they can't really control, I think that goes to what type of councillor they will be over the next 4 years. So I'll be looking at other candidates.
That always concerns me, because what does the average person, do you think, Theo, look for in their local council? What do we want? You tell us.
Yeah. Look, when I've won elections previously, it's when I focused on the key issues: rates, roads, footpaths. The issues that matter to the ratepayers tend to be, what are the council services that they're using? So, if they're using a library, they generally would be looking to have that library refurbished, every 20 or 30 years. If they're using a childcare centre, same sort of thing. So these are the issues that really relate to voters. They don't really want their councillors talking about foreign affairs or those sort of things. And that's why I think I've been quite successful when I've been in local government, because I just focus on the issues that I can control. Yeah. And if I've got particular political interests away from council, that's in my own time, and I do that not on the ratepayers' dime.
Yeah, and because I think I think we're so done with it. I've heard our morning's host Tom Elliott talk about it quite a bit. He's passionate about it, and I think most people are. Bike lanes, for instance, I don't see enough bikes in the bike lanes, and I'm all for people not getting knocked over and all that. But I don't see enough bikes in the bike lanes to sort of justify that. But they keep on appearing. Who are they appeasing by putting those in?
You won't see those bike lanes no more. I think in the next 2 or 3 years. I think whoever's the new Lord Mayor, they will be, if not wholesale, changing a lot of those new lanes that came in last, 2 or 3 years. So it's a topical issue. I know at least 2 of the key candidates have put out their policy on that. And I think that, it's proven that it hasn't really worked, and there's been a lot of self-reflection on Melbourne Council. And so, we won't have to wait too much longer, I don't think.
Look, in theory, great, because, I love Amsterdam, I love Copenhagen, but they're not Melbourne. We're a different design. It's different. We haven't been here for... Melbourne wasn't here thousands of years ago, and it's different. It's only been here for a couple hundred years, and it is what it is. And we don't need bikes. We need parking spaces. We want people to come back to the CBD and feel safe, and it doesn't cost you a fortune, and be able to get around. Funnily enough, talking about that, we're taking our 10-year-old granddaughter for her birthday treat while she's still talking to us, out and about in, there's going to be a certain stage there.
Don't worry, I've been there.
We all know they go through that. And while she's still lovely and talking to us, we're going to take her out for a special treat day in the city of Melbourne, like we used to do, like our grandparents used to do for us 50 years ago. I know it's a bit retro, but I want Melbourne to be that Melbourne again. Is there any... Am I the only one?
Look, obviously there's going to be activity this weekend in Melbourne CBD for other reasons. So, and we've seen a lot of that the last sort of 12 months. There's always some protest on a Sunday,
Someone's angry.
Which is unfortunate. People closing down the roads. You can't really go there with your family anymore. So that's why we need, these are not really council matters only. It's Nick Poll and state government, but we really need just people to speak up and make your views known to candidates before you vote for them.
Yes.
So that they know where their community stands on these issues.
Absolutely. I just think it's so important. I've got a call coming in for you, Theo, from Stephen. Stephen, good afternoon to you. Hi, Steve.
Hi there, Grubby. Just wanted to let you know that Council Watch have published a questionnaire that was sent to all registered candidates.
Yeah.
Just quizzing them on all those pertinent issues about political affiliations and et cetera, and it's a fantastic tool to compare one against the other on the same basis, and any candidate who doesn't answer the question, don't vote for them.
What do you think, Theo?
Oh, look, I think Council Watch have a role to play, but my advice would be call the candidates up yourself. Speak to the actual candidate. There's many reasons why a councillor will vote one way or another on an issue in the council chamber. You need the context, you need the background, and the council candidate should have the right to at least give you that background over a phone call, or just email them as well, and that would be my advice, Steve.
Steve, thanks so much for your call. Theo, what's up for you? We know you've still got a job because you have to feed your family. Yeah. Will you have a bit of spare time on your hands now?
Well, look, I'm actually finishing up in a few weeks on Monash Council. My last day is 26th of October. I've actually got 13,000 emails since 2012. I thought someone else was responding to them, so I've got to go through those. Okay. Apparently it's my job to read them and respond to them. But I'm going to do what every former councillor does, Grub. Yeah. I'm going to turn up to a council meeting, sit in the front row, and spend the whole night interjecting and heckling. That's what I'm looking forward to.
You're just going along to getting a bit of your own back.
Well, we live in a democracy. But no, look, I do have other things that I'm focused on. And, it's a new chapter. And I've been doing this for the last 16 years since I was 19. So, there'll be a bit of twiddling my thumbs, and then we'll see what happens in the future.
Good on you, Theo. Look, always a pleasure talking to you. Welcome anytime on the Weekend Break. Plenty to talk about, political, lighthearted, whatever it takes. Just don't mention the grand final ever again. That's all I'm saying to you. Theo Zografis.
Enjoy the weekend, Grub.
Good on you, mate. Good to talk to you. As always, former Monash councillor and federal Liberal candidate for Chisholm. After the break,